All right, let's get stuck into the review of the Asics NovaBlast 5, one of, if not one of my favorite daily trainers. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Blake. I'm a musculoskeletal podiatrist. I work with lots of runners. I test lots of footwear. I work and lecture in biomechanics. I love reading research around shoes. I just love nerding out around shoes. So we're going to talk about a couple of considerations. One is for the injured runner, the person who has discomfort and pain. Where does it work? Where doesn't it work? Then also for the asymptomatic runner, just looking for a good shoe. So 255 grams coming in for a size 9. And you can see, I mean, it looks like a fair bit of shoe, but the foam that they're using makes it pretty light. It is true to size. I run a size 12. This shoe is a size 12, fits perfect. One thing I love about this number 5 is just the fit into the toe box. It just fits a whole lot better. Got a little rubbing through the top, but I get that with all my shoes, and that's for another video. But volume in the shoe, it's a little bit less than the previous version, but I don't think too many people are going to have trouble with this, depending on if you've got a higher arch foot. You know, generally a foot that takes up more volume, I still think you're going to fit in here pretty well. Feel, it is one of the greatest, kind of right in the middle feel shoe for me. So it's not too soft and it's not too stiff. It's right in the middle. And I've always wondered, when I first got this shoe, I thought, surely it's going to be too soft. It's going to wear quite quickly durability wise. But I've got over 200 kilometers in this shoe. And honestly, it's felt better. Like every 50 kilometers, it just gets better and better. So I don't know what it is about this shoe, because I didn't find that with the SuperBlast. That shoe felt pretty good from the start. This felt a little bit stiff, a little bit snappier, and then it's gotten a little bit softer, but I've really liked that. So injury considerations, because it is soft and it's pretty chunky, we assume that if someone's got something like a compressive heel pain, plantar fasciitis, more localized to the heel, not so much through the arse, but the type that is more localized to the heel, what we assume is having a greater surface area, a little bit softer foam is going to reduce how much force hopefully gets in through the heel. Of course, you'll still have a fair amount of compression through there. So I think this shoe will work well in my clinical practice and has worked well for people with that compressive plantar heel pain or plantar fasciitis. It's not too bad for the medial and lateral tendons and the Achilles. So I think, you know, the tib pose, flexor hallucis longus, peroneal tendon, once it's on the outside, and of course the Achilles, because it does sit on an 8 mil drop, which is the difference between the front and the back. So this is, let's say, for argument's sake, 20, and this is 30. It'll be a 10 mil drop. So the higher the drop, generally we think a little bit less work at the ankle and the foot, and the lower the drop, a little bit less work at the knee. So being a little bit softer and being a higher drop, those two things together probably aren't going to work as well theoretically for the knee. So things like patellofemoral pain, knee joint discomfort. So we want to probably look for a lower drop shoe and something that's a little bit firmer. Feature-wise, what I love about this shoe, and it's worked so well clinically, is this padded heel counter. Like if you can see in through there, it feels amazing. It's really nice and soft. So people with, you know, either a thicker, something like a Hageland's, or a thicker bone at the back, we call that the calcaneal bone. Don't call it deformity. A Hageland's morphology. It's going to fit pretty well in through there, and you've just got a little bit of extra cushioning. You can see the heel counter is a little bit firm, but it does protrude out a little bit. And if you put your finger in through there, it is nice. So it's not completely vertical. There's a little bit of a protrusion out. So it's going to fit someone with either a thicker bone, maybe some insertional Achilles issues, which again, the drop's going to help with. Some insertional Achilles, maybe a subcutaneous bursa that sits on the outside. It's really going to help out. So foam-wise, they are running the 4-foot blast max through the whole shoe. Now, the feel of this shoe is incredible, and I've said it before, and I will say it again. It is a blend of not too soft, but not too firm. And it's continued to stay that way up around the 200Ks, maybe different around the 500, but let's see how it's looking. So if you've run in a really soft shoe, kind of hit the ground and you sink into the shoe, and we call that a shoe that's got, you know, it's quite compliant, we would say. Whereas a shoe that's really stiff, you know, Saucony is a great example. It is quite firm. So with this shoe, you do hit the ground, sink in a little bit, of course, but not too much. So comparing that to something like the Mizuno Neo Zen, I feel like I sink in quite a bit. You know, the Nike Invincible is an example. Whereas on the other end, you know, something like the Saucony Ride, or, you know, even from Asics, the Kayano, where it is a little bit firmer. So this shoe, perfectly in the middle. And it's great because it's so light. So you don't feel like you're sinking in and then you're really quite heavy to come off. You really are finding the shoe a lot more comfortable. Because of how it feels and how light it is, it's just perfect daily trainer. I mean, I've run long, 25K, 5K. I haven't run too quick in it just because, again, it's not that snappy and I've got other shoes for that. But of the overall kind of Asics landscape, comparing, say, the Cumulus, it's softer, a little bit snappier than that. Comparing it to the Nimbus, probably relatively similar in feel, but again, it's lighter and you feel like you can go a little bit quicker. If you're running the SuperBlast, it's similar, but just a whole lot less and a little bit lighter. But surprisingly, although you've got less shoe, it still feels to me kind of just as good. And it took a little bit to get used to that. So SuperBlast, put it on, good to go from the get-go. Whereas for this, the more that I've run in it, the better it's felt. If you wear anything inside your shoe, like foot orthoses, it's got a nice wide toe box, plenty of room, and they've got these sidewalls, which you can see, and that does give it quite a fair amount of stability. So you see that comes up to here. Move up my finger down, probably around down there. So the idea of that to try and give a little bit of stability to either side because it's not built into the shoe. So I didn't feel unstable on this at all, and probably in part as well because the bottom plantar gauge or this surface area, it's just a whole lot wider. Now, of course, most shoes when they look to reduce weight will make it a little bit thinner. This shoe is still pretty light, as I said, 255, but it's really nice and stable. Grip on the outside, amazing, perfect. I mean, if you have a look at that, had no trouble running the wet. It's been fine. I've run a little bit on the dirt road. It's been really good. Rocker wise, I mean, I really like a rocker, and this has been fine. I mean, I didn't really notice it overly, like the Saucony Elite V1. You really feel that compared to like the KO. You don't feel anything at all. This felt really good. It's not as stiff in through the forefoot, so you don't feel that snappy push off. And the foam, again, it's a little bit softer, not too soft, but it just means there's a little bit of flex in through there, and that's after 200K. So if you're after something stiff and a little bit snappier, this shoe is probably not going to be it. But if you're looking for a nice daily trainer and something to run long and relatively easy in, like this shoe is going to be perfect. Fitted and lockdown was fine. I mean, I just had to stand and heel lock all my laces. Look at these little pull-ons on the side, fine, but it felt really good. Nice around my heel, and overall, plenty of volume, plenty of room in there.